Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit. Am I the a-hole? This one's from user Throwaway Agperp. Am I the a-hole for calling my sister out for putting me on a blind date and lying to both of us about it? To cut a very long story short, my sister put me on a blind date with a wonderful woman. I agreed to it reluctantly, but was pleasantly surprised on said date, as she was pretty much my type and it was the best date I had been on in years. Here's the issue. The woman is 22, I'm 43. Now, this wouldn't have been an issue if we had just discussed this on the first date, but foolishly we didn't. For some reason, this conversation didn't come about for 3 months after the fact. Just for some context, the blind date was on Skype because of the current health crisis, and we only got to meet properly a few weeks ago. Nevertheless, I think due to being in lockdown, we both enjoyed having someone to talk to. So where does my sister come into it? At no point did my sister ever mention the age gap was this big. When she said younger, I was presuming 30s, not barely out of high school. On the other side, my sister had told the woman in question that I was in my 30s, not 40s. My sister is 33, so I presume she just thought we would be closer in age. Anyway, when this revelation came about recently, I was seething and had it out with my sister for matching me with someone completely inappropriate and for lying to both me and this woman she claims to be a friend. She can't see anything wrong with it because as far as she's concerned, we're both adults and we've been going well for the past few months. Not to mention that I should have asked myself and not presumed. My issue is the principle. You can't lie to people like that, especially as I don't date very often anymore after my wife passed. She claims she did it because she knew I would have said no otherwise. So, am I the a-hole for having a go at her, or should I just be grateful for her kindness? The judgment is not the a-hole. Now let's take a look at the top comments. This painting says, not the a-hole, but don't let this consume you. Your sister wants you to be happy, so she lied to try to nudge you along on a date. That was wrong, and she's an a-hole for this, but only mildly so. Put your foot down with your sister and tell her that her meddling and dishonesty are counterproductive, and that if she wants you to be in a relationship, she's not helping by doing things like this. But don't let this hurt your sibling relationship too much. Sorry for the loss of your wife, and I hope you find happiness. OP responds, thank you, that's very kind. Honestly, I'm furious at her because I feel like I was led on into a non-starter. Potaton says, not the a-hole. You should check out the Twitter thread on Am I the a-hole Twitter on your post. Most people agree with you and it seems Reddit is mixed, which is stupid. You're a good person for worrying about this. It's a valid criticism. If you haven't already, I would suggest sitting down with her and explaining the exact reasons why. That you don't want to take her 20s away and exactly what you would want out of a relationship. If you make that clear and she still wants to try, I think if you like her enough, it might be worth a try. If you're still uncomfortable with it, nobody will fault you for that. It completely makes sense why you'd feel wrong about it. Good luck. And I'm sorry your sister put you in this situation. That is totally not okay. Off the C95 says, not the a-hole, and honestly, thank you for not being one of those creeps that gets off on the power imbalance. OP replies, if you see my other post on another forum, the power imbalance is exactly why I'm so apprehensive about this relationship. OP's edit. Just to clarify, the woman I've been dating does pass for her late 20s, something even she herself confirms. I have only met her in person once, and the vast majority of the time, we only called on the phone or texted due to our jobs having hectic schedules. There was no conversation about our childhoods or anything which led either of us to believe the age gap was this large. And just to make it clear, I'm not remotely comfortable with this age gap and my sister knew this. Well, to make the judgment short, I don't think OP is the a-hole for getting mad at his sister. What his sister did was wrong. She should have been upfront about it to both of them and then they get to decide. You could argue, well, her heart was in the right place, but she executed it poorly. And you would probably be right with that, but that still doesn't make it right. Anyways, OP said we should check out his other post, so before we move on with the update, let's check out that post. This one's from user Throwaway Agperp. Sister lied to me and now I'm dating a woman almost 20 years my junior. I'm so conflicted. My sister set me up with her friend and neglected to tell either of us that there was a larger age gap than we had realized. I'm 43 and she's 22. We both thought we were in our 30s, and due to not being able to meet in person until a few weeks ago, that didn't help matters either. Now that the topic has finally been discussed, I don't know what my next move is. The woman in question doesn't actually care that much. However, I can't say the same. She has a good job and lives on her own, and is friends with my sister, so I just presumed she was late 20s. I've been seeing her for about 3 months now, and it truly does feel nice to speak to someone like this again. However, no 22-year-old deserves to have a 43-year-old widow for a partner. I'm not 100% against getting married and having kids, but that will be too far in the future for her, and I'm already getting on. I really do like her, and a large part of me doesn't want to let her go. But I feel like I'm being selfish, and despite her saying it's no big deal for her, I still feel guilty. So OP has two conflicts. The first one being that he's angry at his sister for not disclosing the age gap, which is something he would have taken into account and made a decision regarding dating this woman or not. And the second one is that now that he's in the relationship, he feels weird about it because it is a 21-year age gap. Now, looking at it from a pragmatic point of view, the sister is right. If they are both getting along well and the woman in question does not have a problem with the age gap, then maybe OP should stay in the relationship if he can get over the age gap thing. If I was in OP's shoes, and this is just my personal opinion, I would probably end the relationship now because it's only been 3 months, and I would assume that an age gap this big has a lot of differences in things that they'd like to do. Anyways, like I said, that's just me. What about you guys? What would you do if you were in OP's shoes, and what do you think about this whole situation? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on with the update to the Am I the A-hole post to see what happened after this. So I have had quite a few people asking me for an update, which was very thoughtful, and I thought it would just be easier to share in case anyone else wished to know. First of all, thank you so much for the support and love. It really did help and made me feel very welcomed. Ultimately, I stuck to my guns and broke things off. Many of you asked how on earth I could have gone all of that time without knowing her age. Well, that was because she knew my age and initially lied to me. Apparently, she and my sister had already had a conversation about my age and how it wouldn't be an issue for her. She then asked my sister if I knew, and my sister said, and I quote, "Just play along." When I found out about this, I just had enough from both of them and left them to their own devices. It has been about a month and my sister and I are simply not speaking. She tried to call me and tell me that this was for my own good, but I just let her get on with it. I'm not necessarily mad at either of them, but I'm just done with them. The feelings I felt for the woman were more or less manufactured because she put on a persona which she knew I would be attracted to. Although it has been some time, I'm still exhausted by the whole situation, so I would prefer to keep my distance from the two of them. Nevertheless, thank you so much to those who replied and checked up on me. It meant a lot. For now, I will just keep going on my own, but these things happen. Reddit and Twitter did prove that there were some decent people out there. Not necessarily saying the woman in question isn't decent. I just question her approach to this particular situation. And to those saying a male widow is a widower, I'm very much aware of that, but after years of saying it and having foreign relatives not knowing the difference between the two, I stopped caring as they both meant the same thing: a person who had lost their spouse. OP's edit. Oh my goodness, I'm completely overwhelmed by the responses. I've been busy and have been in a bit of a slump since this whole drama blew up, but all these kind words and messages have really put a smile on my face. Thank you so much everyone, I really do appreciate it. Wow, okay, I honestly did not see that one coming. I didn't think that this woman would be in cahoots with the sister to try to trick OP. Like OP says, this whole thing was one big lie and the woman was putting on a persona that he would be attracted to. That's not right. It's a good thing he broke it off, even if it was for different reasons than the ones I would have done, but you know, he's still out of it and it sucks because now he's all sad. He was tricked. I would be really upset at my sister, and I obviously wouldn't want to see either of them for a while. I mean, the other woman, maybe never again, because why? And the sister, well, you know, you could go no contact, and you would go no contact with a crappy mother-in-law or a narcissistic parent or something like that. But the sister just did something stupid. I don't know if it's worth jeopardizing a whole sibling relationship for something this stupid, like I said. What do you guys think about this whole thing now? If you were in OP's shoes, would you forgive your sister at some point and try to, you know, rekindle the relationship or something? Or would you go no contact or just keep her at arm's length? Let me know in the comment section. And now let's continue with the next post. This one's from user TwilightWG. Am I the a-hole for watching Twilight? So anyway, my 22 female boyfriend, 24 male, and I have been watching movies a lot more because of lockdown since we live together. Even though restrictions are easing, we are still having movie nights in together. We watched all the classics and all of his childhood favorites. Now, one of my least favorable obsessions is Twilight. It's problematic and weird, but it's a movie I loved when I was younger and frankly a guilty pleasure. I asked him the other night if we could watch the series together and he said no and moved on. I was kinda confused, so I asked why, and he said, because I say so. When that was said, I got pissed because he's not my parent and he doesn't dictate that. So I left and put Twilight on my laptop and watched it. When it got to about 2 AM and I was about halfway through New Moon, he came in and asked why I didn't come in to watch a movie with him. I pointed to my laptop and he got really angry. He said he didn't want to watch it and I was still doing it. I said back that I wasn't making him watch it and I just wanted to watch it. We can watch something tomorrow. He was still really angry and said that he wanted us to watch stuff together and that I was acting up to get his attention. It ended with me leaving the room to sleep on the couch. Now it's today. He won't eat with me and will barely speak to me. I didn't think it was a big deal, but now I'm feeling guilty. Like I really hurt his feelings without knowing. Am I the a-hole? The judgment is not the a-hole. Now let's take a look at the top comments. Banana Duck says, not the a-hole, but your boyfriend is. Red flag number 1, quote, because I said so, end quote. This is a very controlling statement. Red flag number 2, getting pissed at you for disobeying him. Red flag number 3, the silent treatment, which is a very toxic behavior. Level 5 Mudge says, not the a-hole. Your boyfriend speaks to you like a parent. This is controlling behavior. 13 out of 10 would dump. Noomba95 says, not the a-hole. His because I said so crap is controlling behavior. His pouting the next day is manipulative. You need to nip this behavior in the bud now before it escalates. 1. Don't you think a reasonable person would give you a reason as to why he doesn't want to do something you want to do? 2. Did he expect you to do nothing for hours until he decided what movie he wanted to watch? 3. You think it's reasonable for him to now be passive-aggressive towards you instead of making an effort to communicate like he should have done the night before? Yeah, OP, I agree. You're not the a-hole and your boyfriend was acting very childish when you did what you wanted to do. You guys watched all of his childhood favorite movies. And then when you suggested watching a movie that you liked as a kid, he said no because he said so. And you were absolutely in the right to get upset. That is not a proper response to something that a couple is trying to decide on. If he didn't want to watch the movie, he should at least tell you why. Even though I think it's only fair that if you had to sit through his childhood favorite movies, then he can do the same for you. In my case, if my wife was a fan of Twilight, which thankfully she isn't, I would sit through those movies because she'd ask me to. It's the least I could do considering she's watched all the Marvel movies with me and Star Wars as well. But that's beside the point. Anyways, OP, in summary, you're not the a-hole. So now let's continue with the update to see what happened next. People seemed really worried when I looked over this thread and I wanted to update to let you all know what has happened. So initially, whilst we made up for a while, all these comments kept on worrying me. I followed through with my word and contacted my therapist in a way I would not be overheard. My therapist told me to leave, and I initially didn't. I was really scared of it all. Then it just clicked. I left the flat we share and I've quit my job and got a new one so he doesn't know. I've also deleted him off all my socials and I'm currently living with a friend. I know it sounds weird saying this to a bunch of strangers, but you really did help me. I am so scared of what would have happened if I wasn't such a fan of the nostalgia series. And thank you so much for that. Also, I have watched Twilight a lot more than I would like to admit. It's still the best series ever. Okay, after I read the update, I thought I'd missed a lot of information in the comment section because from the first post to the update there seems to be a big jump. I focused on OP's responses to see if there was more information regarding the relationship. I looked for responses that had to do with abuse or anything like that, and I didn't find any. So in case you're wondering, it doesn't seem like OP was getting hit or anything like that. There was one comment in the update that kind of explains things a little better. In that comment, she says, and I quote, "I literally had no idea about things like gaslighting and manipulating in my relationship. This helped me research different things and made me realize some things I was in denial about. I am not comfortable going into more detail, but I just wanted to let everyone know I was okay, as like I said, some people seemed very worried." So that's it. OP is out of that relationship, out of that flat, and is ghosting her ex so she can move on. I just wanted to give you guys that context because when I read the update, I felt like I missed a lot of information. And so we've reached the end of the video. I truly hope you liked it. If you did, leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe to reach our goal of 100,000 subscribers. Also, if you feel like chatting with others from this community, you can always join my Discord server and check out my subreddit. I'll leave the links in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next video.